Привет, как дела? Achiki, marapta okialu. Nyojong, konolikja. Annyeonghaseyo. Local languages in Minnesota. Welcome to another edition of Fluent Friends. Hi guys, Pierre here with Fluent Friends, and today we're going to be talking about local languages in Minnesota. We have a bunch of major languages here. We also have a bunch of minor languages here as well. I chose to learn some local languages. I also chose to learn some major languages. Why? It just works out for me in the area where I'm at. So here are some lists of some local languages in Minnesota. Now we're going to go with the major ones. I'm going to go with the minor ones. I found out that the major people groups here are people from Eastern Europe, people from Africa, and people from Asia, and people of the Spaniard origin. You know, it could be they speak Spanish. It could be Mexico. It could be Colombia. It could be Guatemala. It could be Cuba. You know, those are all examples of people who speak Spanish that are in Minnesota. If you just speak Spanish, you would probably catch all these groups. So here are some of the languages: Mexican, Puerto Rican, Guatemalan, Cuban, El Salvadorian. Speaking Spanish, usually you catch all these groups. If you speak Spanish, you'll be able to catch all these groups. So we have a lot of people in Minnesota that speak Spanish, but they're not all from the same area. There's slight variations in it, but generally speaking Spanish, you'll definitely be able to reach all these groups. Then we now go into the African immigrants that are in Minnesota. Somalia, Ethiopia, Liberia, Nigeria, Kenya, Sudan. Now in this language, you actually have to learn each particular person's mother tongue. You can't really say, well, I'm going to just learn Spanish. And no, it doesn't cover all, like, I'm going to learn African. No, you have to learn a Nigerian language. You have to learn a Liberian language. You have to learn a Sudanese language, Ethiopian language, Kenyan language. Fortunately, Swahili is actually one of the languages that are spoken widely in Africa. So you might be able to cover two groups. You know, if you could speak Swahili, they probably speak Swahili as a first or second language. So now with the African languages, yes, it's true that they all have a mother tongue and you have to learn each one. But something like Swahili, for instance, might help you out because Swahili might be a first language or a second language for them. But a lot of African countries were actually colonized by other countries. So you have like the British colonized a lot of countries, for example, like Nigeria. You have the French colonize some countries, such as like Cameroon, Togo. You know, you have the Portuguese actually even colonized some countries. So because of that, they speak also, some of these countries that immigrants that are here, in addition to speaking their mother tongue and English and maybe Swahili, some of them actually speak French. So if you actually understand French, you might be able to communicate with these groups because they speak French as a second or a third or even a first language, just because they've been colonized by French people. Same way with Nigeria, they speak English sometimes as a second or even as a first language. English is actually widely spoken in Nigeria because we were colonized by the British. The next people group that I like to cover would be those from Eastern Europe. The major ones that I have seen would be Russian, Ukrainian, Bosnian-Herzegovinian, people Moldovan. These are all people from Eastern Europe, Belarus. You know, at the same time, you have those of Germanic origin. The thing is, like, the people in Minnesota, a lot of them have German, Polish, Norwegian ancestry. So they've been here for a long time. But people who are actually starting to come more and more to our lovely state, Minnesota, they are people of Russian origin, Ukrainian origin, and so on and so forth. The last group of people I'd like to cover with the Asians, a very, very broad canopy of people, covers a lot of people, big umbrella, right? You have Cambodian, you have Laos, you have Thai, you have Vietnamese, you have Chinese, you have Korean, South Korea, you have Hmong, and then you have Japanese. Same with these, same thing here Each of these people speak a unique language. However, you could also see the French influence in some of these languages. For example, Vietnamese, they have some French influence. The Hmong, their alphabet, it's actually almost a mixture of French and Chinese. It's a mixture of French. The rumor is, or the legend is, or the myth is, a French guy actually helped them a French missionary actually helped them to develop their language, a lettering system. So even when you see them writing, stuff like that, it looks kind of French in nature. So when you look at these languages are the language that I have in my local area. They are varying amounts, but on a given day, I would run into people of all these nationalities. We have malls that are just Hmong malls. We have malls that are Somali malls. You have churches that are Korean churches. You have Ukrainian churches. You have Russian church. I mean, it just varies. It's such a lovely wide spectrum of people in Minnesota. Because of this, I learned a couple of languages. I learned some major ones. I learned some minor ones because my underlying passion is for people and understanding them. Well, I hope this was informative for you. Thanks for subscribing to Fluent Friends. You know, speaking of learning languages, you'll never believe these 3 easy tips to boost your language acquisition skills. Head on over to fluentfriendsonline.com, sign up, and we will send you an exclusive video. This is not on YouTube, and best of all, it's free, directly into your inbox. If you like what you're seeing so far, subscribe, hit the like button, thumbs up, thumbs down. If you want to see that exclusive video, the link is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Spasiba, arigato, kamsamida, oshe, shia. Bye.